I'm sure you've seen now that Foxconn wants to build Tesla's electric cars for it. At the same time, within 24 hours of that news being released, automakers such as Volkswagen have basically admitted that they are going to outsource a significant amount of their EV production. Now, for those of you who are unaware, you might be new to the channel, currently big automotive companies outsource a pretty large amount of their electric vehicle production. In fact, most of it. Why? Because it's done in China by Chinese car companies. In fact, around 70% of the world's electric vehicles are now produced in China, primarily outside of Tesla, by Chinese electric car companies. Foxconn wants a piece of that share. And this got me to thinking, the future of the automotive industry. What will it be like in 2030? How will Tesla be making their cars? And how will that compare to everyone else? Here's my answer. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Great to have you here. Welcome back, everyone else. And make sure that you check out some of the 2,500 videos we've created over the last year and a half on the channel. There's a lot of information there that will help you to understand everything that's going on in the automotive industry, which, by the way, is the biggest industry in the world, period. And it's currently being disrupted. So this is one of the most incredible periods in history, and most people have seemed completely unaware of the fact that billions of dollars are going from here to here to here to here to here. It's a huge, huge, huge deal. Now, remember when we had Nokia phones? Remember back in those Blackberries and Nokias, and everyone thought, yeah, this is the future. And then all of a sudden things changed and that industry was completely disrupted. Well, that's what we're seeing now. But the phone industry is minuscule in terms of its actual worth in comparison to the automotive industry. Now, I'm sure you're aware, the phone industry, though, a very large percentage of phones, right, are currently assembled by Foxconn. Foxconn is a Taiwanese electronics company, and they're already known for assembling Apple's iPhones. In fact, they assemble, I think, about 40 to 45% of all phones sold in the entire world. Foxconn is Taiwan's largest company by a huge margin. On Tuesday, Foxconn chairman Lu Yang-wei noted that Foxconn is now looking at electric manufacturing as its new frontier. It's hoping to assemble EVs for Tesla in the future. I'm going to tell you right now, that will never happen. I am 100% certain of that, because the way Foxconn does things is completely different to the way Tesla does things. And it's going to be even more different in 2030. In fact, drastically different. I'll tell you why. Because Tesla wants to eliminate human beings in the factory, which actually makes more sense than you realize, especially when you consider the fact that yesterday someone just died in the Ford Chicago plant. 5 days before that, people predicted someone would die in the Ford Chicago plant because they said conditions were unsafe. And 2 days before that, someone died at Stellantis's plant in North America as well. So yeah, this kind of thing happens all the time. In fact, people die in automotive plants almost every day of the week all around the world. It's more common than you realize. We just don't hear about it. Now, Foxconn's comments were made during the company's annual tech day. The executive noted that Foxconn is looking to replicate its level of success in assembling consumer gadgets such as Apple's iPhone to electric cars for automakers, and Tesla, being the world's premier EV company, would be a great client for Foxconn. They would, because, well, Foxconn obviously wants to learn how Tesla do it, right? And I think the first thing they're going to learn is Tesla is not an assembly company. That's what Foxconn is, essentially. They assemble phones. They don't just assemble phones, they assemble iPads, they assemble laptops, all kinds of things. But it's primarily assembly. Now, the automotive industry requires a lot of manufacturing. And actually, most legacy automakers don't do most of that manufacturing themselves. They outsource that manufacturing. So clearly, that's why Foxconn's strategy will work for companies like Lordstown Motors. I mean, Lordstown Motors are getting Foxconn to build their electric pickup trucks in the United States. Makes sense for these guys. Makes sense for companies like Volkswagen, where they want to outsource EV production. Makes sense for companies like Toyota, where they want to get BYD to build their electric cars. And frankly, it makes sense for most automotive companies in the world if they can just outsource the assembly side of things to Foxconn. That's probably financially a good decision for a lot of them because currently they're not making EVs and they're about to be disrupted. If they don't get a move on and get a company who can do things faster and more efficiently like Foxconn to actually, speed things up, then they're going to lose enormous amounts of market share. I think it's their only real choice. But the thing is, Foxconn doesn't really understand what they're talking about. Let's be frank. Making phones, assembling iPads is completely different to building an electric car. Now, I think I need to remind everyone that Tesla and BYD are the only two car companies on the face of the earth making any kind of profit from an EV. BYD makes a very small profit. In fact, last year they didn't make a profit. They about broke even. This year they made a very small profit. Tesla makes, well, you all know, a big profit. Why? Because they're obsessed with manufacturing efficiency, because their production lines are more than 70% automated in comparison to EV production lines from other car companies such as Volkswagen, which are below 20% automation. Now, the thing is, if you want to build something efficiently and cheaply, what do? You reduce your costs as much as possible. What did Tesla just do? Removed sensors from its cars. It decided it didn't need them. It can use just the cameras to do the same job. Let's remove them. It's going to save us $1,000. That's what Tesla will continue to do. Continue to improve efficiency in every possible way it can, whether that's using lithium iron phosphate batteries, gigacastings, structural battery packs, mass automation, buying robotics companies so they can use more and more automation, or by developing your own robot. I know there's a lot of skepticism about Tesla's robot, but eventually Tesla will make it work. Now, there's a lot of skepticism about Tesla as a car company. In fact, a hell of a lot. Everyone said they would go bankrupt. Well, 9 out of 10 automotive analysts said they would go bankrupt. 9 out of 10. So 9 out of 10 of them were wrong. Eventually, Tesla went from being a basket case automotive manufacturer, which is what they were essentially for the first 5 years or more, into being the best automotive manufacturer on the face of the planet. Now, if you don't agree with me, just read Herbert Diess's comments. He was the CEO of Volkswagen until they fired him, but I'm pretty sure he would agree with everything I've said here, because I'm paraphrasing a lot of what he's said himself. So what's Tesla's strategy? Is it to do what Foxconn does, which is basically pay people a very small amount of money in Asia to work on a production line doing manual labor, which is essentially what they do? Foxconn is known for paying pretty low wages to low-skilled people in Asia. That's their strategy. Is that the strategy of the future? Is that BYD's strategy? Is that Tesla's strategy? Absolutely not. Tesla's strategy is to automate their production line completely. I think by 2030, Tesla won't have any staff on the floor at all. Maybe one or two, just checking the robots are all doing what they're told and what they're meant to do. Eventually, in about 7-8 years' time from now, Tesla will have removed staff from the factory floor. Will they be a humanless company? Absolutely not. Tesla values enormously things that are not manual labor, things that require human ingenuity, things that require research, development, innovation. Those are the things that human beings can do at an incredibly high level, which won't be able to be replicated by robots for a very, very, very long time. Those are the areas where Tesla will hire more and more people, whether that's in computing, whether that's in AI, artificial intelligence, of course, whether that's in battery technology, cell technology, whether that's in gigacasting technology, metallurgic technology. Those are the areas where Tesla will continue to hire as much as humanly possible. In fact, Tesla right now is on a hiring spree in the US and China and Germany exactly for those kinds of people. And that's why Tesla even says you don't have to have a university degree to work here. We want the smartest minds, whether that's university trained minds or not, it doesn't matter. Now, the interesting thing is, Mary Barra at General Motors actually has come to agree with those comments. She now says General Motors has adopted the same position as Tesla. You don't necessarily have to have a degree for General Motors to consider you for positions which in the past you would have had to have a degree. More and more companies are starting to realize to find the brightest minds, they need to find them early and as quickly as possible. Now, like I said, production lines like Foxconn, that's the old school way of doing things. We've been doing that for over a century now. Manual labor, hired as cheaply as possible, and it's definitely not the future of the automotive industry. The future of the automotive industry is, whether you like it or not, automation, robotics, building cars precisely in the most efficient, automated way possible. And that's where Tesla are going. Now, what I want to know from you is, who else in the industry is going down that route? Now, obviously, BYD are very focused on vertical integration. But in terms of the work and the automation in their factories, nobody seems to actually know how automated their production lines are, or whether or not they're focusing on automation as well. I can't say for sure because I don't really know. I've read in forums and things, comments here and there, but the truth is, no one has ever actually said. But we do know BYD is incredibly good at ramping up production in old car factories, buying off car factories that build gasoline vehicles and turning them into electric vehicle production facilities within a very, very short space of time. No one seems to know how they're able to do that so quickly. But one of the keys, of course, is manufacturing their own parts, products, and batteries, skateboards. So the future of the vehicle industry, in my view, is not Foxconn. It's not hand assembly. It's not manual labor. It's robotics and automation. Frankly, Foxconn may have a future with some of these other car companies, but how long that can last, I don't know. Because remember, the automotive industry is being disrupted the same way the mobile phone industry was. And how many of you now own a phone made by Nokia? Thanks for watching. Have a great day and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Bye-bye.